Well, hello, busy professionals, and welcome back to the series of anticipating the new normal for the workplace post-COVID-19. And this is episode 2, part 2, or episode 2B. And in episode 2, we have 2 videos. And so we'll be moving on to episode 3 after this. My name is Gretchen if you don't know me, and I have been a change management consultant for nearly 3 decades, and I try to say that without looking surprised. and I'm working primarily with Fortune 500 companies, and hands down, this is the biggest change management challenge that companies are facing. Surprisingly, we didn't know this was coming. Big change management challenge that we're being confronted with across the globe. So what I've been doing over the past several weeks is I have been diving deep into the research and the data about what are the likely trends that we're going to see once we're able to come out of this pandemic situation. It seems like it's never going to end, but hopefully it actually will. And we need to have a plan on what the new normal is going to look like for each of us in our workplace. So in the last episode of episode 2, part A, we talked about what's happening to start normalizing the idea of working from home. And I covered a couple of points, and this is what we saw even prior to 2020 and prior to the pandemic rearing its ugly head, that we've already been seeing a trend for a long time of people working remotely, full-time or part of the time. And some companies are really great about implementing work from home strategies. Others, it's not a consideration yet, well, until now, I have to say. And just some reminders of stats is in a 2019 survey from Owl Labs, they cited that 80% of employees, this is for 2019, so this is pre-pandemic, 80% of employees want to work from home at least some of the time during each week. And, oh yeah, this is a good one. And over 1/3 of their survey respondents actually said they would take a pay cut in order to be able to work from home and have that flexibility. So those are really big drivers. We also, in the previous episode, talked briefly about, because of the downturn in the economy in 2008-ish, what company leaders discovered is that there's huge cost savings in reducing their real estate, particularly if they rent office space. And that based on occupancy stats, now this is for last year, for 2019, what it shows us is employees are not at their desks 50 to 60% of the time during the workday, which is a huge waste of space and money for companies. So these are trends that are happening to begin to normalize the idea of working from home. Now, I wanted to save this biggest one, that the biggest event that's happening that is also contributing to the normalization of working remotely, happens to be happening now. And that is what we're seeing now, because we're all forced to work remotely, and that happened quite quickly weeks ago. Now what we're seeing is a reduced trepidation on the part of managers and supervisors about their people working remotely. Why? Well, because we're all forced to work remotely. Those of us for whom our job roles are compatible working remotely, or those of us who are not essential workers. That's fantastic, don't you think? But now that managers and supervisors and executives are working from home, the trepidation is lessening. The worries about lost productivity is starting to decrease now. And as managers and supervisors and their teams have been using these virtual tools now for several weeks, they're realizing, managers and supervisors are realizing that it is still quite easy to continue with collaboration and working together and sharing information in the cloud and all of those things. So the biggest boon now to normalize the idea of working from home is the fact that managers and supervisors are experiencing it for themselves, and they're realizing, hey, it's not so bad. We can keep everything moving and work well together and not miss deadlines and all of that good stuff. So I wanted to take a few minutes and just go through if we are going to implement a work from home strategy as we move kind of back into whatever this new normal is going to be, then it's important that managers and supervisors and executives shift a little bit about how do they measure productivity? How do they measure performance when not everyone is in the office together all the time? So I just want to briefly go through 4 key points about what managers and supervisors should be looking at when it comes to measuring performance and productivity of those working remotely. So number 1, biggest one right now is focus on results, not activity, and not bums in seats or butts in seats. So you want to focus on the results, because people may be working more flexible hours than just a strict 8 hours, contiguous 8 hours. So it's not about butts in seats, but it's about what are people accomplishing and what are people getting done. Second one, make sure as a manager and supervisor that you set clear goals and directions. And this is a little bit of a shift for some, perhaps. Excuse me. This allows the manager, you now provide the guidance on what needs to get done as you farm out work that needs to get done with your team, and let the employees choose how they're going to get the what done. So you want to set clear direction, clear goals, and let them figure out how to get there, and you just provide the what. And the third point is to make sure you have a plan to increase accountability with your folks. And one of the easiest ways that I've experienced in doing this, and I've done this with multiple clients, is to have a huddle, I guess, which is like a short meeting, not a long meeting, but just a short meeting, either a couple times a week, and just have everyone do a roundtable of what are they working on in the next 48 hours, what are they working on today, whatever. If you're doing it daily, you would say what are you working on today. If you're doing it just a couple times a week, just so that everybody on your team knows what everyone else is working on, and you as a manager and supervisor, this allows you to know what everyone is working on. But have it be a short meeting via video conference or audio conference, and just have everyone go around and report out on what they're working on. And your job as manager and supervisor for every person who reports out is to simply say, do you need anything from me? because you want to know what you need to do to clear the path for them to be able to accomplish the work they're working on. And the fourth point about managing performance of remote workers is simply trust your people. Trust them that they will get the job done. And so you'll need to care more about what gets done versus what are the working hours in which it gets accomplished. As I stated before, some people will love remote working and they are night owls and they will work till midnight, but the opportunity affords them the time with their family and putting their kids to bed and all that stuff. And that is a surefire way, not only to have a more productive team, but it also contributes, it raises morale and significantly can shift a culture to be more of a trusting, empowering corporate culture. Okay, so that's it for episode 2, part 2. Next, we're going to move on to episode 3. And in episode 3, we're going to have 3 short videos. The first one, episode 3 deals all with productivity. We're going to be looking at how people feel about their own productivity while working remotely. Then we're going to look at how does it impact unscheduled absences. Stick around for that one. And then in the third part C of episode 3, we're going to look at companies and what they say about productivity. Those companies already implementing a work from home strategy. So 3 videos coming in episode 3, and it's all dealing with productivity. So as usual, if you have any questions, in the discussion box below, description box below, is information on how to contact me. I would be very happy to answer any questions you have if I'm able. And until then, stay safe, everybody. I am the Change Whisperer.